All right. Welcome back to the episode number 8, and still within the week, Talkin Gimmicks podcast. As always, this is your host Julio, and as always as well, we've got Joey Shoots, who is our resident hashtag shoot trash, and and of course Ryan. What's up, guys?
Yep, you pretty much summed me up.
What's up, how's it going?
Well, I mean, just kind of to preface that, this morning when you texted us like, "Hey, we better do something today," I responded with like, "Man, what a shoot!" Like it wasn't as nice as I said it right there. I'm like, "Man, what a shoot! That you're such shoot trash." And yeah, those in the know will get it, but of course, Joey is usually on that edge of shooting and working, so you never know with Joey, right?
You don't.
Yeah,
You know.
I don't even know myself.
I just assume that he always is working.
Dude, I assume like that you're shooting 98% of the time, and that when you tweet out something like everyone's an angel, including you, that's total work.
Yeah, I don't know.
No comment. All right, so today we've got a couple things before we get into our recaps. There's I think we should just start with like, let's just get into it, right? It's been all over social media. I think we tweeted a little bit about it. This whole Joey Styles thing. For those not in the know, Joey, who is kind of had become like trying to become like the voice of indie wrestling. I think that was his goal. So he was doing Evolve and Chikara and Beyond and all sorts of stuff. And he was doing the Evolve pay-per-view last Sunday. And he made a comment. He quoted our president-elect, kind of tried to throw some shade at Stokely Hathaway and kind of call, he's like, yeah. He says something like, "Joanna, you look good tonight. Our president would grab you by the," and speaking of, and he tries to kind of transition it to Stokely. And holy shit, when that happened, I was like enjoying my Sunday and having a good time. And then I'd like, oh, let me check Wrestle Twitter. And it was like the whole place was on fire. So that led to Gabe firing him almost right after, made a Twitter announcement about it. Apparently, he was instructed to not talk anything about like anything regarding politics, and that is a direct quote from politicians. So there was definitely an issue where he didn't follow an order. And after that, there's been such a crazy aftermath. He got canned from Beyond, he got canned from Chikara. And now he's kind of in a limbo. Like there's been people with different takes. So let's open it up to you guys, because I know you guys have some things on your mind about it. Ryan.
So for me, I guess, there's a couple of pieces to the issue and like the reactions that I was seeing. You've got people. I mean, we didn't even get into the Chikara thing really. I mean, so
yeah, you can get into that if you want.
Yeah, I'm not up with Evolve. So for me, the idea that okay, he disobeyed Gabe, he got fired for doing that. That seems totally chill. Joey Styles, he put out that letter basically explaining the situation or whatever. And said that he was okay with getting fired from Evolve, but then Quack
just
makes this announcement that he's
before
fired.
you get into Quack, his letter, Joey's letter, I think was like bullshit. Like
it definitely had a lot of elements of bullshit.
He was like not owning up to it as much as you would expect. He was kind of cushioning himself from like, yeah, I said it, but he never really admits fault. And he's like, but everyone was okay with it. The guys in the back in the dressing room were okay with it. Like he he kind of almost justified it, where he could have just owned up to it and be like, all right, whatever. But anyways, going back to what you were saying.
Well, I don't know. I mean, so, you know, I did read also that I guess someone said that they weren't okay with it. Someone involved with the situation had come out after that and said, you know, that basically at least one of those times where they said, oh, they weren't upset about it, they actually were upset about it, you know, whether it be from a standpoint of feeling attacked or just feeling like, wow, you just like fucked up the show, you know, because you're bringing this bullshit into it.
And I think that the person you're referring to is like one of the people tied to Flow Slam. I think this was the first of all people getting Flow Slam. And I think in his letter, he had mentioned that those folks weren't mad, and someone had to come out and say, hey, that's BS. I was mad about it.
Yeah.
So after all this craziness, and apparently like the show was really good. Like the main event, the Gulak and Thatcher was just crazy. But that like took away all the shine from the actual in-ring stuff, which really sucks because, you know, it's always bad when someone from the outside takes away what's happening in the ring and the storytelling and the athleticism and all that. But then to the point where you were getting, you know, the rest of the chips started to fall right. Beyond Candom, which was interesting because they've had some pretty edgy angles like that. People were very controversial. I thought that would have been the chip to fall last or not. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Chikara.
Right, you know, so Chikara puts out his statement basically saying, okay, well, it's like his version of the state of wrestling, and he's, you know, taking a stand. Joey Styles is no longer affiliated with the company, and this is right at the end of their campaign to fund their video game. A big part of which was going to be that Joey Styles is going to be involved and provide commentary for this video game. So that's an even, you know, further element of this that I think makes it kind of a bad business decision on Quack's part to just cut Joey Styles for this. I get it. He's a wild card. I get it that Quack has a tight control over his product and what comes out in Chikara and what is Chikara. So I understand it. But also, yeah, I'm not sure that it was appreciating, you know, the energy, the enthusiasm, and the kind of the outsider's angle on the commentary for Chikara, which has never really happened before. Basically, it's always been people that are in the know.
I think there's two parts to this. Like, so first, and you know, we talked a little bit about it pre-show. It's like Chikara has been crafting their image or their public image as a company that's inclusive, women, children, everyone. You know, they want to be for everyone. And the way they've done it is, you know, things like we had the Queen of Trios, and we had the first female champion from one of the major independent companies. We had what was that little mini documentary they had?
Wrestling with Inequality or something.
Wrestling with Inequality. And I mean, and I get it. Like, I've been at wrestling events where the crowds aren't welcoming. And I get it. Like, for people who like it and want to experience it, and they go, and then people are just being either making crazy comments, being rude, being obnoxious. I think that's why they're very careful with maintaining that. And they've garnered that type of attention from Rolling Stone and the local newspapers, and the following is people who are advocate. A lot of the followers of Chikara are people who advocate some of these things. So that put him in a really precarious position. Like, you keep Joey Styles, and it's, from one sense, like you said, like he was exposing the product to people who weren't familiar with it. You know, he's very experienced, knows what he's doing and whatnot. But then you alienate a good percentage of the people that have followed you this far, right?
I see that. I guess that's where, like, I'm not engaged enough with the Twitter world and how easy it is to set people off and to offend people. You know, I live in a college town, so I I have some experience with those kind of people, you know, where you say the wrong thing in front of them and, you know, you're probably going to hear about it. And, you know, they might make a post on the internet about it and just say what a terrible thing that you just did. So,
and I mean,
I get that, but I don't understand getting offended at someone making a joke and quoting Trump. I get that he mimicked some form of misogyny, and so if that's where you draw the line, is that you're no longer allowed to mimic something that happened, you know, within a performance space. That's kind of interesting and kind of scary too for me.
Yeah, I mean, I just think a lot of it's hypocritical from people's perspectives, you know. That's all.
how so?
In what way? Like how hypocritical? That's an interesting word choice.
Because, like, for instance, I love Joey Ryan, you know, but a lot of these same people are marks for Joey Ryan and what he's doing in the ring. Like, you got to figure, like, wrestling is an act, right? So, like, you suspend your disbelief, like, once you check into the show. So, like, nothing really, I mean, I understand, like, this is a different time, though. We're talking 2016, 2017. This isn't the 1990s where everything was just chaos, let's just say. But now, like, for me, when I go into a show, nothing offends me. That's me personally, though. I'm a 30-year-old male. You know, I've probably been to hundreds of shows. I've never once seen, and I'm being honest, anyone feeling safe. I've never seen anyone mention it in person. You know what I'm saying? And I've been to shows all over the country and Canada even. So it's like, I believe that it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but these are isolated incidents. You know what I'm saying? And I understand why Quack did it, but it's tough, man. I just say it wasn't in his company, so it's kind of hard for me to, like, because you were saying Joey Styles brings a lot of fans to to Chikara. He had that big interview with Taz back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where,
well, and he even, I mean, it was interesting to listen to. Sometimes the Chikara commentary falls into a rut because the people know each other too well, and they start talking about their real lives or whatever their little nerdy interests are,
sure.
and it really throws off sometimes the engagement with what's actually going on. And that was almost never happening because they were having to, you know.
Okay, so kind of to dissect,
having to grapple with it.
To dissect kind of what you mentioned. So there's two things. Like, first, I feel like wrestling has really, demographics-wise, shifted a little bit from, like, the Attitude Era to now, right? So that demographic shift brings a lot of different people. And kind of to your point, like, you say you don't get offended with anything. And I mean, there's different varying degrees, right? And you can bring a lot of different things into it. Like, as males, we may not be offended by certain things. Females are, right? So it's like, it's two different sets of lenses. You can say the same thing about, you know, gender, race, age, whatever. So I do think that nowadays these companies have to be more careful in how they present themselves from a business standpoint. And, you know, your commentary team, usually, if they're not involved in the storyline, I wouldn't want them to present, like, edgy, crazy stuff with the storyline. Aside from that, like, you go into the in-ring stuff like Condren and Devastation Corporation, those guys, and they were doing some, like, crazy things, but I felt like it was necessary for the story to be conveyed. It's like the movies, right? You watch a movie, and just because, you know, something bad happens to a female or a minority in a movie doesn't mean anything other than, if it's important to convey the story, I'm okay with it. So I think that's kind of where we're at. And kind of, Ryan, you said something, it's kind of scary, because at what point does having this type of outlook and making sure everyone's kind of comfortable hinder the ability to present a story, right? Like, and then, you know, what is it, right? Like, I think that's kind of where wrestling's a blurred line between you know, a TV show and a movie, or mixed with like the NBA or the NFL. Like in the NBA and the NFL, people can't say shit that is going to offend people, right? Whereas in a movie, which is fiction, which is not real, it may happen and may be necessary to convey a message or a story or what have you. And I think that's the real challenge for people like wrestling companies, people who, you know, bookers and all that, is how do you tiptoe that line between this is fiction, but at the same time, we're having a shifting demographic and we don't want to alienate people. And I think that's kind of where we're at, right? Like this whole situation, this whole outlash was because of this, right? And I get what Craig did. Like, I think they've crafted an image for themselves that they're the company that's going to be different. They're the company that's going to bring down the old wrestling, you know, carny mentality. And if that's the case, that's what they had to do, right? And I think there's a lot of underlying stuff here, of course, but I think it's kind of a tricky place because more so than the whole Joey Styles thing, you know, stuff like the issue that with Kevin Condren and with Devastation Corporation, some of the trouble they got into, which was tied strictly to their character, to their persona. So, any thoughts on that, comments?
I guess my other thing, you know, with this whole deal is outside of Joey Styles is, so the other part of Quack's statement was that no one, be it fan, wrestler, whatever, will be allowed in the Chikara culture if they display, you know, any kind of discriminatory or belittling behavior or speech, basically. And so, you know, getting back to wrestling and what is the art and what is the performance, it kind of makes you rethink about how you get heat, what's okay to in someone, what's okay to, because I think in some way it kind of denies that part of wrestling and part of the heel getting his own is that you kind of develop a disgust for the heel. And so if people aren't allowed to be disgusting to any degree, it's just, I find that for character development.
I mean, I think you're limiting art, you know, and it's not good, is what I'm going to say. And real quick, Ryan, this is kind of a point. This is leads to everything. Right now, while we're recording this, Survivor Series 2016 is taking place, and you wanted to know, you said you're not really in touch with Twitter and everything, and you wanted to know what easily offends people. Well, let me just say, the first match of the show is a women's match, the only women's match of the show, and my Twitter timeline is acting like it's World War III, is all I'm going to say.
Because there's only one women's match?
No, because it's opening
show.
Yeah.
I see, for me, it's like a prestigious spot.
To open up?
Yeah, it can be kind of cool.
Sure. But, I mean, if you look at my timeline, you'd think hell froze over. But moving on.
Yeah, it just
right? It's like that kind of spits in the face of all those guys that do the opening matches too, you know. Okay.
I think it's just really tricky. It's kind of overall like wrestling was an art, apparently, supposedly, or that's kind of the mindset. But at the same time, it's a business, right? It's a business, and as a business, you go to any company and there's, you know, diversity initiatives, gender diversity, race diversity, all sorts of things, regulatory requirements.
So, I get it. I can't go into work and call someone, "Hey, fatso." I can't do it.
No,
in the ring, you can be like, "Oh, hey, you're a fat mother," and it's great.
But even that aside, it's like still on both sides. Not even like the comments, like commenting on something, like just the norms that a regular corporation has to comply to have diversity and inclusion and whatnot. So I think it's just really tricky for them because they're a business and they're unlike any other business. They're not like the showbiz world or the film industry, all that stuff, where they can do crazy shit and they'll still get heat though. Like you remember that poster for X-Men that had Apocalypse chokeholding Mystique, I think, and that got a backlash. So, I mean, it's the time that we live in, and I think you're going to see more of this before, before anything else changes. That's what I think.
Okay, but real quick, you talk about business, but it's like, and I'm not defending him whatsoever for what he said, okay? But at the end of the day, and now people are coming out and acting like he's a horrible commentator now. I mean, you can't talk shit about his commentation because of what he just said. But what I'm saying is, for a 20-plus year career, because of one stupid comment, which he should not have said, he's pretty much exiled from the indie business, in my opinion. So, and he got fired from WWE, so he's gone there, which was.
I will say the WWE fires and hires people like it's no business. So
yeah, but I mean, he said some shit on a podcast or something, or that he probably shouldn't have opened up about the business. I don't think he's going back there. So pretty much because of a statement he made, which he shouldn't have said, don't get me wrong, he's going to be exiled from the indies, dude. And who's going to sign him now? No one's going to, because the second they do to put him on their show,
there's some like rogue companies where I could see him working, like CZW or like stuff like that. Like CZW will probably snap him up. You don't think so?
I don't know. That'll be an interesting matchup. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Whoever does it'll get a lot of heat. I know that much. And I mean that's not good. I don't think they want that, you know?
I just think that it's just the nature of living in this time, you know? It's like you can get fired over a Facebook post. Not just like in wrestling, just in life. If you post something, on Facebook, social media, whatever, that can cost you your job. And that's the nature. Of course, the wrestling industry it's a spotlight. There's a lot of people looking. It's very small. So, but you hear these stories every day, like someone who's working at whatever makes a racist comment on their Facebook page, someone sees it, notifies their company, and he's canned, or she's canned. So it's kind of just part of the times that we live in.
Yep.
Yeah, I just think all in all, 2017 should make for an interesting year of wrestling, good or bad, I don't know, but
it'll be interesting for sure.
Go out and support your local independent wrestling companies. Keep them alive, keep them afloat, because this Flow Slam is pretty interesting, for the big companies, but for smaller companies, because like you got to figure. Say real quick, I know we kind of just got off Joey Styles, but just Flow Slam deal. Say there's a small show in your hometown, but next thing you know, you got the Flow Slam deal where there's a show you might want to watch in the internet pay-per-views, right? So you choose to do that. Meanwhile, your independent company down the street, right around the corner, is live in person where you can actually physically see the action. Meanwhile, it might not be the same stars or whatever, but still, like, you got to keep that company alive, And that's what's going to end up happening, is what I think. These companies are going to end up slowly fading away. Small companies, because it's going to get to the point where they can't put on shows. In New York, they're making it real impossible now. The Athletic Commission has put down some sort of rules and shit now to where the heel can't interact with the fans whatsoever. Or they'll get fined, or they'll get there's some crazy shit, man. I don't know what the hell's happening.
I'll say that, like, I would think, and I wasn't around, but when the whole, like, territory era started dying away and WWE snapped up everyone, like, I would assume there would have been a doom and gloom around that. And we're still here in 2016 talking about wrestling. So I do agree with the statement. If you have a local company and if they're any good or if they provide entertainment, you go out, enjoy it. But I think wrestling will just evolve into something different as it's happened every decade, right?
Yep.
Right, cool. So I think that kind of wraps up the Joey Styles stuff. There's a lot to that. We could spend like an hour, on Joey Styles and what that means and what that means for wrestling. But I think we need to move on to, and there was a little brief segue about maybe Joey Styles working at CZW. One of the things that I was all for this week, and I found very interesting, was the Vice CCW documentary, that Tournament of Death. Did you guys catch that?
Only saw like the first 10 minutes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I saw the whole thing. It was really, really something, man. It was cool.
So I've notoriously in previous episodes, and I still don't like death matches. Don't get me wrong. That's still not my cup of tea, not my flavor of ice cream. I compare them to like kind of the horror porn movies like Hostel and stuff like that, where in a lot of those movies it's just shock value for the sake of shock value. And I think death matches sometimes, a lot of the times, are like that. But that documentary was really interesting because something that does fascinate me about them is the psychology behind the fans who love it and the performers who are involved in that. It's fascinating to me to see that side, and this documentary, of course, had gory, violent moments. But you had the wrestlers preparing before the show, and DJ Hyde preparing, the whole event and talking about how things work there, and you can see like interactions with the fans. I just find that really fascinating. Like I would love to sit down with like someone who does death matches and just pick their brain. So what were your guys' thoughts, or just general thoughts on it, or in your case, Ryan, with death matches as a
whole? The thing that I found interesting was how much work that he had to put into doing it, DJ Hyde, into getting all these permits. It seemed like he was doing a lot of paperwork and having to do a lot of like hoop jumping, in terms of getting blood tests and everything for people, and really trying to death match as safe as possible. It's a strange, conflicting thing about the whole.
Yeah.
Are you coming to die, or are you trying to save your life?
Jerry,
go
ahead.
All while the crowd hates you,
Yeah.
But yeah. See, here's the thing with CZW. Like, for me, I don't like get grossed out by it or nothing. I don't seek it out necessarily, but like I have no problem watching a match or something like that. I give them fucking all the credit in the world, dude, guys like that, because for those 10 or 15, 20 minutes or whatever, like, you got to understand, like, in another company, dudes are just taking bumps, just regular bumps, and going through the match and getting their check and getting out of town. These dudes are literally going through fucking hell, man. Some of the spots they were going through during this documentary were insane. And I give them all the credit in the world, And would I do it? No, absolutely not. But it's definitely interesting to see, like you're saying, DJ Hyde, kind of like behind the scenes with his wife, and to see how concerned she got, was real. That's a real moment, man. When he got buried alive, I guess, towards the end. Spoilers, but I mean, go watch it. Definitely, it's like a voice. It's like a Vice documentary. I think it was, right? Yeah, you should definitely
it was a
finish
Vice
it,
documentary.
man. It's
I highly recommend it.
Tim Donst of Chikara and other companies was in there. It was his first appearance. I know Julio was kind of like, I don't know, taken back or a little shocked by that, right? I guess, right?
Well, for me, it was like, we've known and loved Tim Donst from, Chikara and some other promotions. He's super intense. He plays, he's really into, the characterization of whatever he's doing. And I always have liked him because of that. So to see him, and kind of him just talking about why he wanted to do it, was really interesting. And always when I see someone who's not normally a deathmatch wrestler in that environment, I'm always like really concerned because they're not used to it, right? It's like seeing AR Fox, I think at like Cage of Death last year in a death match, just doing some crazy insane bumps. And, we're not used to seeing him in that light, so you're like a little bit worried about it. But, I think, and you brought up a really good point, Jerry, like the humanization of a lot of folks that are doing the death matches was really interesting to see, Don's talk about it, to see DJ Hyde and his wife, to see these guys talk about like the pain they go through and how
Yeah,
you know, they
Masada.
deal with it. Yeah, Masada. What's the other guy? Claxton, Connor Claxton, talking about, you know, how the pain is like something mental, like he has to go through the physical pain to cancel out of mental pain. It was like really interesting because I'd love to know what motivates people to get involved in that type of, you know, wrestling, that type of performance, and, you know, the fans who seek this out, right? Like, it's like DJ was saying, like the fans are like, there's a bloodlust. They want to see crazy shit happen. They want to see people get fucked up. And I mean, it's cool when you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the movies and go see a horror movie and it's gonna be crazy. You know, no one got really, you know, legitimate hurt, right?
Unless you go to see the new Resident Evil movie, in which case you can know that that girl got her face ripped off.
Oh, did she?
That's a real thing.
I did not know that.
Yeah, motorcycle stunt.
And I'm sure like there's some accidents on those sets, of course, but the intent is never for anyone to get hurt, right? Whereas here, the intent is for people to get hurt. Not to die, but to get hurt. Like the dude Cannonball, when he had that that like disc that they use for like design or something.
Yeah,
it's a little
okay.
I'm gonna talk about it because that's one of the most intense scenes.
Yeah, that was nasty, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That was after the match though, like removing something from his head, let's say.
It's a little disc with spikes that they use for something like art. I don't even know what it is. And in the match, against Tremont, he gets it, like Tremont puts it on his head and just bashes it in with a chair or something. And dude, just seeing the backstage folks removing that from that guy's head, like, there's no way to describe that. And he was just, you know, his concern wasn't as much that, because obviously it hurt. It looks like it hurt. But he was like excited to know that the crowd was into it, that the crowd bought what he was doing as a performer. You know, I thought that was fascinating. Like, I was like just worried for his head, and he was like, I'm so glad that they, you know, accepted me and liked me and that I proved myself. So yeah, this was really an interesting light to that world. I highly recommend it, even if you're not a deathmatch fan like myself.
Yeah, just if you're squeamish though, I mean, probably don't watch it. If you don't like blood, if you don't really like
don't
violence,
watch it.
Don't watch it. If you like, you know, if you're looking for just wrestling, it's not your thing. But it's open. You know, it opens your eyes into a whole nother world of wrestling. That's because if you think about it, like, there's a lot of fans there, you know, and it's held at a field, and it's in Delaware, where it's one of the only few states, I guess, remaining that that they can hold death matches and that type of shit still legally. So he holds it at his parents' farm, which is pretty interesting. And there's, I guess, I don't know, what was there, maybe 500,000 people roughly. I guess I really don't know, something like that. Yeah, which is a pretty good draw. So, and it's the type of thing where you don't just stumble upon a CZW show. It's not, you know what you're getting into pretty much. You don't, especially a tournament of death. You don't just fucking walk around the corner and be like, oh, there's a tournament of death. Let me fucking win. You have to know. You have to pretty much know, you know, what's going on and shit to get there and everything. So it's a certain, just like Chikara is a family-friendly, certain type of crowd, like you're saying before, like the opposite, ultra-violent fucking, the crowd is insane. It's almost kind of like there's a lot of ICP kind of like fan, you know, I guess you could say, type of things or whatever.
A little overlap,
It's the whole different world, man. And definitely seek it out. I think it's like you can probably go to Vice.com or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't really know
Vice,
where to find it, but
I think Vice uploads it on YouTube.
I just tweeted it out, actually.
Oh, you did?
I just tweeted. Yeah, I just tweeted the link out to it.
Right. Cool. I agree with that. I think even outside of just wrestling, I think it's a really interesting documentary, even if you're not a wrestling fan. I think it's really interesting.
Definitely.
Be warned, it's graphic. If you're squeamish, be careful. But I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's one of the corners of our wrestling world that usually doesn't get as much light just because of the nature of what they do. But again, to your point, Joey, it's major props to these dudes, because for you to willingly put yourself through that, to perform and to, you know, do your art or whatever it may, you know, your art or performance, whatever. You know, right? It's cool. Like I would never do that. Never.
To me, it does kind of implies some kind of mental issues or something. But you know, it's like Necro's a genius. So what can you say? I mean, it's just
right. Like Necro is like one of the smartest dudes I think in the wrestling scene, and he does that. You know, it might be like some of the people, like, you know, there's artists who like to paint with their own blood and stuff. Like, you know, yeah. I just think they're tapping into a different part of their mind. Well, they may have different motivations. Not all might be like that.
Yeah. And so you might be able to stand. People like it's kind of hard to stand out like as a regular wrestler, you know, because there's so many. So maybe like in a world of violence, it's possible to get over quicker, you know, if you're willing to do that type of shit, you know, if you're willing to get booked and take that match to fucking go through the back of a pickup truck with light tubes and scaffolding and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Get a syringe stuck through your cheek.
Yeah. Dean Ambrose.
I mean, get a Sawzall taken to your head.
Dean Ambrose was
John Moxley did.
Guy, yeah, or Drake Younger, who's now a referee. So I mean, it's interesting to see the different types of motivations. I think
definitely
and it's like DJ said, some people do it because they like it. Some people do it because they need the money and that's all they know how to do. There's a wider variety. So I don't really want to generalize.
And I bet you there's a percentage that do it to escape to escape some sort of pain in their life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that sounds kind of weird maybe, but it could be true. You know, they could be going through some shit and they're like, fuck this. Let me get paid to take a beating or
give a beating.
Or give a beating or whatever the hell it is. You know, get my shit, you know, let some stuff out. So I respect those dudes 100%. Here's the thing. One time, I've never been to a CZW show. Obviously, you guys probably haven't either, I'm guessing.
No, never.
Not even close, probably. But here's one thing.
You have to seek it out.
Yeah, you guys stumbled upon one in Texas one time. So years and years ago, I'm talking maybe 2009, 2010, I was going to an Evolve weekend with my buddies, and there was an Evolve show on Saturday and Sunday, I think it was, and Friday we had free. So we were just driving down to these shows. So there was a CZW show in Jersey that Friday night, and we had an open schedule. So we're like, fuck, man, let's try to get down there and get to the CZW show. But for some reason, we got lost and fucking drove 4 hours out of the way somehow and ended up nowhere fucking near CZW, dude. So it's almost kind of like me and my buddy said, like a blessing in a way.
Blessing in disguise.
Like we fucking missed the exit or something like for 4 hours. I don't know what the hell we did, dude. But CZW show, and I've never been to one since. Not saying that I wouldn't go to one. It's just, for me, the closest one would be about 6 hours driving, and it's, unless it was like built around a weekend where there was a couple other shows, I'm thinking, in the area where I could catch a couple things that weekend, maybe I would do it. But
I think last year Nick Cage had a death match tournament the same weekend as King of Trios, like somewhere near Newark.
Nick Cage is out of jail, by the way.
Yeah, I think.
Did you call him Nick Cage?
Did I what? Yeah.
Did you call him Nick Cage?
Huh?
I thought you called him Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I think I called him Nick Cage. Like, is that like Mortal Kombat? Is it Gage? It's Nick Gage, right?
Yeah, it's Nick. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Nicolas Cage, and I imagine Nicolas Cage hosting a death match. I was having.
See, that's exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Nick Cage.
A fan.
Nick Gage, not Nicolas Cage.
No.
Of what you call it, of Con Air fame.
Gone in
National
60
treasure.
National treasure. Gone in 60 seconds. Wrong Nick Cage. We're talking about Nick Gage, the deathmatch.
Nick fucking Gage.
Nick fucking Gage. All right. So that wraps up our little CZW talk. So before we get into our recaps, Survivor Series, who you got?
I don't even
Tonight,
know what's in it.
Dude, it's Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar.
Dude, you're not informed, man.
Do they have teams? It's a singles match or
Yeah.
what? I'm not informed
Yeah, no,
at all.
I'll tell you right now. There's Team Raw versus Team Smack. Well, right now the women's match, it looks like the Charlotte and Bailey team won. That one.
Cool.
Charlotte just turned on her, actually. Just looks like she's beating her up. But
Imagine.
yeah, the men's match is Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Team Raw is Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Seth Rollins versus SmackDown's team of AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, and Shane McMahon, with James Ellsworth as a special fucking piece of shit manager.
Who's a full-time contract now.
Who apparently said on his Facebook, I heard, that he's not taking indie dates no longer. So, yes, he's going to be full-time. Yeah, you got the big Goldberg-Brock Lesnar match you were saying. So what do you think about that Survivor Series match? What do you guys got for that one? The 5-on-5, now that I named all the competitors.
I think Team Raw is going to take it.
I would like for SmackDown to win, but
I think Team Raw is going to take it because it's always been like the bigger brand that they've been trying. Like they've always made it big, like always never been like even. And I think they might make an angle out of AJ and someone. Maybe Undertaker comes out or some shit like that.
There's a stipulation time. Did something for winning?
I think it's just like bragging rights or some shit like that.
Yeah,
it's not that for the Intercontinental title to be on or something like that.
No, not that I know.
I think it's just a regular matchup. And then we have 10-on-10 traditional Survivor Series tag team elimination match. Team Raw, New Day, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Sheamus, and Cesaro, Enzo and Big Cass, and the Shining Stars. Jesus. versus Team SmackDown. We got Heath Slater and Rhino, the Hype Bros, American Alpha, the Usos, and Tyler Breeze and Fandango. So I'm thinking Raw will probably take that one. So maybe SmackDown might take the other one. Then I'm thinking the 5-on-5 match.
I mean, I could see that though too because like, isn't the SmackDown team a little more united than the Raw team? Because like Owens and Rollins and Reigns have had this beef going, and Jericho and Owens have had some friction. So I feel like that team could implode, and then some angles could be continued or brought out from there. So yeah. And what about Goldberg Lesnar? Who you got?
I don't know. To me, like, as excited as I am that Goldberg's back, I can't say I'm excited for this match because, like, I heard that he got hurt. Raw doing the just maybe hurt his shoulder doing something, and I know that Brock Lesnar when he's in there, it's a shoot. It seems like for him, dude. It's almost like he forgets he's in the wrestling ring and thinks he's in the octagon.
Dude,
and if Goldberg's and I know Goldberg's got maybe 15 years on him or something, so he could get hurt, man. I know Goldberg's a beast. I'm not saying he's not, but if Lesnar is he going to dial it back or? That's a question.
It'd be cool if there was some interference and a dirty. I'm ready for Brock to go down no matter what, but I don't think he's gonna lose clean.
I think I can see that, like Goldberg winning with some interference to set up another opponent for what's his face.
I mean, rumor is spoilers, but I mean, I heard that Lesnar's going to be going after the Universal Championship soon after this Goldberg run. So that means KO is on his target.
Wow, that'd be a good match.
Which is what KO wanted and asked for. So, oh shit, Ellsworth's on my screen.
Dude, your angle to make a wish got him a contract.
Dude, his make a wish is still ticking, man. He's still alive.
All right, cool. So I think
all right,
we'll let Survivor Series play out and go from there. But I do think Goldberg is winning, but it's not going to be a clean win.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a schmaz finish, dude. There's no way it's a clean victory.
They can.
You'll see another low blow trade off like Undertaker Brock.
Maybe Bret Hart will come down and fucking save him or something because of the super kick. You know, like some Bret will have some kind of like I don't even know, quick moment with him. Who the hell knows? But Goldberg, how many do you think he's gonna take suplexes and shit? He's gonna have.
He has to. Yeah, he has to.
Probably a limited amount though. I don't think he's gonna take as many as Cena did that one night or whatever.
He'll take like a little suplex Pueblo.
Suplex.
He's gonna take some.
Yeah.
I can't picture it being a very long match. You know. So,
I don't know though.
We'll find out. We'll find out later tonight. You know, that's all.
All right, cool. So I think that wraps up. There's a lot more things we could talk about in the world of wrestling today, but I think we should move on to our 2 recaps. We'll start with our Chikara recap, which who picked this one? Is it you, Ryan? Joey. Cool.
No, I think I did.
We picked Cybernetico. The Cybernetico Rises from November 18th, 2012, about 4 years ago, Manhattan, New York. Who wants to get us started there?
Go for it, Joey.
Yep. Cybernetico Rises. So the ship's up being a title matchup.
Were you there? Were you at that pay-per-view or that show?
One? No, I've never been to a New York City show, actually. It's a really cool venue. I don't know if they've ran this venue in a while. I don't think they have. But starts out Mr. Touchdown, who's the Young Lions Cup champion, up with Veronica versus Soldier Ant and John Barber, the sheriff of Chikara Town, is the referee. Sheriff, who is also hated by fans.
He's got heat.
Yeah, right away he finds an object on Mr. Touchdown. And then
dude, whatever happened to Veronica?
She just kind of went away after Mysterious and Handsome Stranger kind of rocked her world,
she
you
did.
know? She was
Yeah, they kind of just, I don't know. Yeah, they kind of parted ways. I don't know.
Was she doing anything elsewhere? Like, she kind of fell off, like, the wrestling map.
Yeah, she might be doing. I thought she might have some kind of involvement with company, possibly, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I kind of enjoyed her when she was around. You know, it was pretty cool with Archie and when she was with Touchdown and everything. So the crowd was behind Soldier Ant in this matchup. Clearly, Mr. Touchdown.
Of course.
You know.
Oh yeah, this is the match where Soldier Ant loses
he loses an antenna. He loses an antenna off his head.
It popped right off.
Which, for the sake of continuity, he still doesn't have.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, that's interesting. This was and he lost an antenna. So Veronica kind of gets involved with the match there. Throws the baton throws it in front of the ref. To kind of distract him.
Yeah.
And Touchdown hits him with a wrench, I believe.
Yeah, you know, that's one thing or another, a lot of illegal item shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's crazy that, like,
there's nothing to write home about this match.
Mm-mm.
If you look at Touchdown, he's always had heel tendencies, right?
Absolutely. Well, and especially during this time period, this is already, you know, Sapphire has been killed at this point. I'm pretty sure, because I watched the promos after the show. So it's like this is already, you know, Mysterious and Handsome Stranger, I guess, is still around.
Right. Yeah, like, he went through this. He went through then the whole angle where he gave the loaded elbow pad to Dasher. Now he's part of the X-Men.
The culmination of that thing now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Like
weird
he's
to
always
see him
been
now fully evil with the Nazmaldune thing.
like that's why one of the things I do love about Chikara, it makes me question like how long have they been planting this seed with Touchdown? Has it been all the way back to this? To until now, full circle, he's a full heel.
Right. I don't know if you guys had watched the any of the recent Chikara events, like on Chikaratopia. I've been keeping up with the recent stuff, but
Yeah.
watched the Cruise Control, and there was a bit on commentary where they were kind of talking about, how the people that are on the Nazmaldune side really people that are the strongest competition for the Grand Championship, and that it seems like it's kind of a way of taking away Hallowicked's competitors by making him like subservient to him, putting him on the same side, which is interesting.
That's pretty. I never really thought about it that way. Because outside
Well,
of
and
those
they dropped
guys,
it on commentary, so I mean, I don't think it was for nothing. I think it's something to think about. That storyline kind of bloom in the future.
Yeah. Well, now that there's a Cibernetico coming up to wrap the season up in Chicago, which is Team Nazmaldune versus Chikara, which to me, Chikara team seems a little flat. It seemed like they're going to get crushed. But
right, but that just means you're going to get some juicy Nazmaldune
shit's
action.
going to
That's what you
happen.
really want to see.
Shit's going to
we'll
go
see.
down.
Something's got to give from there. That's the season finale, right? The weekend after Thanksgiving. Like the weekend after Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, it's like December 3rd.
It might be early. Yeah, December in Chicago. I want to say it is, and yeah, that'll be interesting to see. That'll be like the big payoff, for the whole Nazmaldune storyline, and I'm sure it'll carry into next season too. It's not going to go away, just like kind of like BDK did that one year. But back to the action here. We're kind of straying away here, but the next match, Fire Ant, another fan favorite, another big favorite of the show, Fire Ant versus the Shard, who was
You're breaking up there, bud.
Say it again.
He was breaking up for me.
He
said that you were breaking up, but
yeah, we're having some.
I heard you clearly, so who knows how it's going for the stream. I guess Julio's the representative.
Interesting,
of that.
Guys.
Up to be honest with you, but Ant versus the Shard is the next matchup.
Everyone was breaking up, not just me, I guess. Are we back? I think we're back.
Yeah,
I'm gonna blame the Undertaker for that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We'll get to that later. Yeah, we'll blame the Undertaker for technical difficulties because I feel like
it can't be the Undertaker, guys. The Undertaker, he's gone. That's all mankind.
No, it was all mankind. It was all mankind. I tell you.
So next we got Fire Ant, Shard.
If we're back, it's Fire Ant versus the Shard. Yeah, with Chuck Taylor on commentary. What'd you guys think of this match?
It's good times. I love Fire Ant.
Yeah, it was all right. I think Chuck Taylor should be on commentary more often.
Yeah. I noticed Fire Ant was selling the injury pretty hard during the match.
Right.
Shard looks strong, like always. Let's see here. No, one of the funny thing is, I don't know if you guys picked this up, and on commentary, Taylor said WCW version of the Dave Matthews Band theme song, because this is right when they changed over to their MIDI type of shit or whatever the song.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty funny when he said that.
Cool.
Good match. Into the crowd and does a huge dive over the rail, super kick for 2. And Shard pushes Bryce later on, then twists the ankle more. And then, let's see here.
cool.
Jake turns on Quack, super kick, and then Jake joins Gekido. So
Another one of those villainous storylines, the Gekido, which I never really liked those dudes. Like, I love Nazwa Moon. Gekido is like, just kind of fell flat for me.
I thought
yeah,
Gekido
I mean, they
were
were
cool. They were because they were a really strong, credible faction in Chikara. I really liked that whole feud in this story quite a bit.
I liked it like when they were with the Flood and everything, like when they were, one of the heel groups with the Flood later on and everything.
To me, you don't have the Flood without the Gekido. Like, Gekido
Yeah.
was like Flood Prime. I mean, obviously you had the BDK before them, but I think Gekido was really interesting force because they were playing against a lot of the things in Chikara in the best way with the other ants, and I just loved it, man. The intensity with Quack and bringing him to his breaking point.
Cool. So then next we have Dasher and Icarus. Joey. So, I mean, it was a rematch. They had just recently had a match, I think. I think they talked about that, right?
I don't remember a whole lot here.
Anyways.
Is Joey gone?
I think Joey's gone, so
Okay.
I'll pick up. I mean, it was a short match. Hatfield gets the win. I mean, this one was felt a little filler to me.
Just feels like nothing really super significant.
Yeah, I just felt a little filler. So I'll move on. Then the next one, it was an interesting person to see in Chikara. I didn't remember he was ever in Chikara. Antonio Thomas. Wasn't he in like the first Wrestling Road Diaries at some point?
I don't know if it's been a long time since I've seen Wrestling Road Diaries.
I think he was in the first. Like, I think Colt goes to do like a workshop at like Antonio Thomas's like school or something like that in the first Wrestling Road Diaries. But anyways, it's Antonio Thomas with another dude who I was not familiar with, Romeo Rosselli, against two Chikara favorites, 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty.
Right. Man, the promo for the what do they call the Heartbreakers? The
Heartthrobs.
Heartthrobs. Yeah, Heartthrobs. So like weird. They didn't do a great job, I think, of selling me the uninitiated on them, and
I think they were talking shit about like they didn't know how to pronounce Chikara or whatever.
Yeah, it was a really weird. Yeah, Chikara. I don't know. I didn't get it. They made a let's call the whole thing off joke. They were trying, but it didn't really land.
I think they were trying to get some heat there, but especially for these teams that come in to do like a one shot type deal, it's like how do you get heat or whatever,
Yeah.
So it was all right. I think usually, as always, when you get like Marty Jannetty, an older guy in this match, there were some spots, but what you think of it overall?
It was all right. I mean, yeah, there wasn't anything super exciting about this. You kind of knew that the results. I mean, there was no reason for the Heartthrobs to win. So it was something where I wasn't really on edge at any point in time. I wasn't super invested in the results or anything, and
I think overall.
So I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and not really a match to.
Yeah.
Put like, oh, you got to watch it for this one.
No,
this is an easily overlookable match, and even if you want to check out Marty Jannetty in Chikara or whatever,
1-2-3 Kid, who's been in better matches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's definitely been in better matches.
And then we got a little segment with, deathmatch / Chikara wrestler Tim Donst, who I've loved Tim Donst in Chikara. I think he was like really credible, passionate, character.
Yeah, even when he's a heel, I still always thought he was good. Although
He's such a good
great,
performer.
easy to hate.
Yeah. And he got himself heat with just being he was good at being a jerk,
Right, Yakabu, being there and being his foil was really helpful for him.
Cool.
Or not his foil, but yeah.
This brings us to kind of the namesake of this event, the actual Cybernetico, which featured, and I'll go through the list here, Frightmare, Ultramantis, Hollow Wicked, Tim Donst, Granite Kuma, both of the guys from 3.0, Eddie Kingston, Jimmy Jacobs, the Bravados, Jay Briscoe, Mark Briscoe, the Young Bucks, and Kevin Steen. Kind of a Ring of Honor.
Brothers.
A lot of brothers, a lot of siblings there. Kind of a Ring of Honor, Chikara, Cybernetico. And as always with Cyberneticos, they're so hard to digest, right? They're so hard to process because there's so many moving parts. So I don't know. I think we should just go through the highlights. If we go through each elimination, we can be here for an hour. So kind of what stood out for you there, Brian?
For me, it's one thing, to just get over the sheer number of people in the ring. For me, the first half of the match is always kind of almost the hardest to digest, just because of the sheer number of people and all the antics that are going on. For me, I mean, the interesting stuff really happens at the end of the match. It's cool to see Kevin Steen involved. I loved this season. I loved this rivalry between Eddie Kingston and Kevin Steen. I think it's super interesting that we get to see Jimmy Jacobs, a precursor to his huge role in the Flood and all that stuff too. So I love seeing the Young Bucks as well. It's interesting that they were they're campeonatos at the time of this event, I think, and so that's even interesting too. That you've got this. Go ahead.
No. I think it was really cool that they weaved a lot of the storylines, right? The tag Campeonato de Parejas, the Young Bucks, and 3.0's rivalry, and Kevin Steen and Kingston's rivalry, and stuff like that was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I found interesting that was it the Steen's team was all tag teams, and they were all brother tag teams, other than him,
right?
It was the Briscoes, other than Jacobs too, but Young Bucks, Bravado brothers. That was pretty interesting. I like seeing the Briscoes and Chikara. That's pretty cool.
I love it too.
They're not the norm,
They certainly don't fit in that new paradigm of of full PC-ness. I mean, you really don't. They do not fit inside that box.
No, they don't.
That's a really interesting thing about this whole time,
Nor does Kevin Steen really, or Jimmy Jacobs. They're kind of on the fringe, which is cool. I like that, and that's why they're the heels and the bad guys. That's what makes it interesting.
Banned from Chikara?
I know he swore a couple other people that have been there. I don't know about banned, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I know he cursed.
I always thought that because of that incident, and I think Chris Hero also had an incident.
Chris Hero, it might be a different.
Chris Hero, I mean, he's got that thing in the past, that other thing. But
I thought they were both kind of on the Chikara ban list. So I don't know.
Surprised me.
I don't know, but it's always interesting to see these guys that are not PG guys come to Chikara and kind of mix it up.
Well, what's even interesting is when Homicide has been booked by Chikara, because I was at a couple shows where he was booked, but they don't change his name or nothing, which I mean that's fine.
Right.
They obviously they can't, but they could maybe. But say a kid in the crowd is I mean, I love Homicide. Don't get me wrong, man, but
Yeah.
Say a little kid goes home and he's like, "Ma or Dad, you know, I was at the wrestling show," or you know, they're even there with the parent. What's homicide? You know, or I'm gonna look up homicide on Google even or whatever. Next thing you know, like the wrestler's not coming up immediately. Probably like the word's gonna come up with the definition and shit. So like, I love fucking homicide, dude. I don't love homicide.
Not the act.
Yeah,
not the act, the wrestler.
Just like Vince Russo's recently has been recorded and taken out of context, I guess, and put on blast online. That's what's going to be happening to me now. So I love homicide.
He was there at King of Trios 2 years ago with LAX.
Who's that? Vince Russo?
No. Homicide.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was. That's true.
That was cool.
It would be really interesting to see Vince Russo invited to King of Trios, though.
Well, I can tell you one guy that's not going to be at King of Trios. That's Jim Cornette.
His little shoot was really interesting.
Shut on Quack?
Dude. It was a shoot on Quack.
Podcast or blog or what?
Podcast.
Okay.
Post Joey Styles. Yeah, it was about the Joey Styles deal. And
right.
He fucking went off, dude. Let's just say real bad, man.
And I guess, and you said it, Joey, on your Twitter, that Russo and Cornette live off of getting attention from their shoot.
Yeah, I mean, they're 2017 almost. Like, these guys are relevant because actually it segues into what we're going to talk about later. Cornette was on the Raw, in 1996.
Right.
So that was 10 years ago. So, like, these guys are still trying to stay relevant. The only way to do it is literally just talk shit, get heat. It's easier to get heat than fucking go after the babyface, So it's interesting, man. I mean, he definitely shot on Quack, shot on the Chikara world. Pretty much ripped it right open, dude. Really bad. Basically kind of like called Quack a huge hypocrite, I'll break it down. And basically said like that Quack has done more to ruin wrestling with this fucking fairy tale bullshit where I'm just kind of like roughly just saying.
Dude,
like
they're gonna make a Russo tape out of you.
Go ahead.
This is not me saying this. I love Chikara, dude. I'm just saying what he's kind of said.
Go for it.
He basically just said there's a bunch of bullshit fucking guys dressed up in their pajamas, and basically just fucking that Quack has basically ruined more shit in wrestling than he's done good, and he has not a leg to stand on pretty much in this argument. Blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, you can watch that. Anyone can pull that up. Cornette's not afraid to say what he feels. He's not afraid to put it out there.
Sure.
So I'm not
he's earned the right to say whatever he wants.
Sure, man. He can say whatever he wants. Whether or not people agree or not, that's up to them. So he's got people that agree with him, and then he's got people that can't stand him. So he's doing it for heat either way. I don't know. It's interesting. But this Cibernetico matchup was, like we were talking about a few weeks ago, this is a long one.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like an hour, like 20 minutes.
At least minimum 1 hour match. This was really long match. It was good, though.
It was better than the other one we watched.
Did you like it? Yeah, it was interesting because of, like, all the outsiders, I think. Like you guys, we were talking
all the
about.
Ring of Honor guys.
Yeah, it was cool to see those guys in there. They're really talented.
Definitely. I love the Bravados.
Yeah,
all those guys. It was great, and then as you wrap it up, you got Team Chikara overcomes Team Ring of Honor, and boils down to Dance versus Kingston, which is great. You know, it's just like knowing everything that leads to, and everything that will come to pass was really cool.
Cool. All right, so I think we can wrap it up there. What's the next? What are we watching for the next one?
Anniversario Delta from 2006.
Damn, old school.
Yeah, 2006, season 5.
Cool.
Featuring a couple things: John Moxley, Larry Sweeney, and Milano Collection AT from Japan, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So let's dive into our retro, which there was a couple of shout outs before we even got into this during our episode. This was Monday Night Raw.
Raw number 173, August 19th, 1996.
Cool. So this was when Raw. This was like when WWE was going through their transition period between the Bret Hart era and the Attitude Era. I love this era of Raw. Like the theme music and Vince on commentary. Well, like Vince wasn't on commentary, but Vince was still doing like voiceovers for like some of the segments and stuff. Like the intro segment, I think he did the voiceover.
Commentary team for this episode was Jim Ross, and then you had Jerry King Lawler and Kevin Kelly.
Kevin Kelly, yep, who's now in Ring of Honor.
Currently of ROH. And this was the episode right after SummerSlam.
Right after SummerSlam.
Correct.
I could say immediately, this brings me right back to when I was watching it as a kid, you know, like 10, 11 years old. Just the characters, you know, the commentation, the old set, just the way the fans were. Just it was a different time, totally. So to kick off the show, we have a tournament to determine the Intercontinental Championship because Ahmed Johnson's injured, I believe, was the reason.
So he had to drop the title.
Yeah, so we have an Intercontinental Championship tournament. The opening round, first matchup in the tournament is Owen Hart, which is one of my all-time favorites, man. I just sucks what happened to him, and I just imagine the career he would have had, you know, if he would have – that never would have happened, and he would have had an amazing career, more amazing than he had. So Owen Hart versus Davey Boy Smith, which is a very interesting first-round matchup.
And they were both under the tutelage of Jim Cornette at this time, right?
Yeah, me and their brother-in-law as tag team partners at one point. So this is to determine the Intercontinental Championship.
Dude, I do want to say though, before like they used to be so good at hyping up everything.
Oh yeah.
Dude, they were hyping up the tournament. They were hyping up what happened at SummerSlam. They were hyping up.
There was a lot happening.
Mankind against Shawn Michaels and In Your House.
Yeah.
But they were making sure to remind you that and how important it was. And I feel like nowadays, I guess with the internet and social media, like I guess they try, but they don't shove it in your face as much. But it was like cool to hear these guys because, you know, it gave me context for an episode that I didn't have context with.
Right. Yeah, that was what was cool for me. You know, I wasn't watching at this time, and I've seen a lot of of wrestling, of course, from this period, and all around. But yeah, you know, coming into this episode, didn't necessarily know what was going on, but they did a really good job of informing you what had happened before and kind of getting you excited for what you were going to see, without doing a whole lot of replay and stuff like they do sometimes with Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right away, I know the announcers are teasing weird things, you know, which we were talking about earlier because the night before Paul Bearer, they kind of teased that Paul Bearer jumped sides and went with Mankind. So, and they killed The Undertaker off, they were saying. So, weird things were happening on the commentary. They were saying sound, the picture was getting a little funny. Possibly The Undertaker they were teasing. They were doing this all night. So,
they were selling it hard.
They were fucking making you really
dimming
believe.
The lights in the arena and everything.
Everything. Dimming it. They were fuzzing the screen and shit.
Messing with the audio.
The commentary was going nuts selling it during
dude, that's just like what we do at Talkin Gimmicks. Like, we fuck shit up on purpose.
Yeah.
To, like, sell it.
Right.
I disappeared like The Undertaker at times. You know so, I come back and resurrect myself. Well, let's see here. So, Sonny comes to ringside, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah.
No one kind of knew why she was there. You know, the announcers are like, what the hell are you doing down here? And then I honestly kind of forgot what she said she was down there for.
I think she was like scoping out like talent or something. Like that she should manage.
She's the manager. You know, she wanted to be the manager for whoever, or maybe both of them. I loved at some point. You know, she's talking about that, and Jim Cornette's like, do you want to manage everyone? She's like, or JR calls her out, you know.
okay.
She's like, do you want to manage everyone? She's like, I can manage everyone. Blah. It's awesome.
And she made a joke about not wanting to manage him or something with him.
Yeah, we called him a fat. They called him fat. Like, he said,
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And then she
The
called
band from Chikara.
And then she called someone a pervert, and then said they were.
She
trying to
called
look
Davey
up
Boy
the
Smith a
skirt.
pervert.
Yeah.
When Davey Boy got knocked over by the table and threw coke in his face, like
That's true. Yep. So back to the match, real quick. So sharpshooter, suplex to the outside, count out. Bell rings.
Owen wins.
Owen snuck back in the ring. No one really saw, so he wins by count out.
Dude, did you guys notice that Jim Ross called the sharpshooter the Scorpion Deathlock?
He called it the Scorpion Deathlock right after Jerry Lawler called it the sharpshooter. I think.
Yeah.
Literally 2 seconds later, I noticed that.
That was interesting.
She throws a soda in Bulldog's face, like you were saying earlier, and things get a little hot there. So she calls him a pervert, said he tried looking up her dress or skirt, which I thought was funny. Owen Hart advances to the next round by count out victory.
Dude, just two things. Like Owen, this was Slammy Owen. So he was like, they introduced him as the Slammy award-winning Owen Hart. I loved his run as, you know, walking out with that and trying to like give prestige to that. I thought that was funny. And then second, I took a glimpse at the Spanish announcers. It's the same dudes that are announcing today.
Oh yeah,
it's the same dudes.
Kidding.
They haven't left. Same dudes. I thought that was interesting. They almost look the same. Like they haven't aged. I don't know what they have over there.
All right. So next we get a Ahmed Johnson little promo talking about the IC title and his injury and everything, showing a little surgery and all that stuff.
Farouk had such a shitty costume.
I thought it was Max Moon for a second when I first saw it.
Right.
It's such a shitty costume for such a badass that he is. Like he looked really dumb.
Yeah. And then we get Mark Henry ringside greeting fans, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing that whole shtick, which was kind of random and kind of thrown in there.
I think they were like mentioned that they had just signed him, and like he was just kind of doing the rounds.
Doing a little meet and greet type of rookie deal. And then we had a match where Big Van Vader, who's actually real quick, apparently not doing too well, according to his Twitter.
I saw that.
He put some kind of tweet out saying he's got something. I don't remember what it was.
He's got like 2 years to live because he's got some heart issue.
Is that what it was? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck to Big Van Vader. So Vader took on the dude in green trunks who I wrote initially on the paper because I didn't really catch what his name was. But I found out Freddie Joe Floyd.
I have no idea who that person is.
No clue. I don't know how long. He must
might
have
as
been
well
a jobber.
call him Jabroni Job.
Might as well call him Jobber Green.
And
so
he looked in a way better shape than Ellsworth, by the way.
100%. He could take Ellsworth all day. So the power dims right away in this match. And again, we're getting powered. This venue either is not paying the bills. They got some faulty wiring, or the Undertaker's behind the scenes. Maybe, I don't know what's happening, but power dims. Really not a long match. Vader bomb.
Yeah.
Power dims again for the second Vader
Squash
bomb.
City.
Doesn't Cornette on commentary say that why the hell you guys haven't paid the power bill?
He might have, but I know the commentary, like right when Cornette was talking, the power goes out or whatever. Then 2 Vader bombs, power dims again. Vader wins with a squash match. Then we get Mankind with Paul Bearer right after he turned on The Undertaker, right the night before at SummerSlam, like we mentioned before. Paul Bearer promo talking about the lights, and then the lights flickering on and off. Paul Bearer saying it's not The Undertaker, it's Mankind, his new guy and everything. He's got the power behind Mankind. So Jim Ross, I mean, the announcers are literally teasing, like we were saying. Jim Ross says we can feel the presence of The Undertaker. Okay? Next thing you know, the music hits. The Undertaker music hits. And you get that kind of, it goes black. You get the gimmick choir type of thing singing that little, the Undertaker entrance.
Druidic chants.
Druids, whatever that shit is. They're carrying him on their shoulders. Here comes the dead Undertaker because Paul Bearer killed him off with Mankind the night before. No way the Undertaker's living still. I mean, he's got to be dead. So
Yeah.
they fucking have him on the shoulders. They drop him, right, like in the entranceway, maybe like a couple feet from the ring or so.
Yeah.
Drop him. Paul Bearer going off with the way he did, which is
this is the
one
wake.
of a kind character, man.
This is the wake for the Undertaker. We're all here at the wake. Yeah.
All here. He's dead. Fucking Paul Bearer's doing his shtick. I really want to do my Paul Bearer impression right now, but no, I'm not going to. I really have a good one, but I'll do it sometime.
Okay.
So Paul Bearer says, whatever, no way he's gonna rise up, blah blah blah. So then he rises up to the music, the Undertaker entranceway. Stands up, posts go up in flames. Mankind, Paul Bearer take off like fucking through the night, Undertaker prevails there, so he's alive. Clearly, they didn't kill him off, but it's interesting. Paul Bearer jump into the Mankind, not the Mankind, but that's wild. He was with the Undertaker forever.
Yeah.
So
no, that was a huge thing.
That's huge.
That happened. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, that was fucking. That was huge, man. To really go back and think about that and watch it now, it's kind of holds up for me. Like, I enjoyed this episode up to this point for sure.
Dude, that segment was killer. Like when they brought up the Undertaker and he resuscitates or whatever, and just that whole
classic Undertaker. Everything about the way Isaac is like the best gimmick that has ever fucking been done. I mean, it is so, it transcends death. I mean, there is not, you can't make wrestling more profound than bringing someone back from the fucking dead.
No, I know. That shit was crazy. Next we have a 4-way battle royal.
Before that, did you catch the vignette for the Stalker?
Yeah, that was weird. Barry Windham.
I thought that was a commercial. Okay, I must have missed that.
No, dude.
No.
That was a little segment teasing the Stalker, and I remember as a kid watching it, and my mom was like, "Who's that guy?" And I'm like, "It's the Stalker." And my mom's like, "You shouldn't be watching that."
Right? It doesn't sound good.
Like, you're a 10-year-old. Oh yeah, it's the Stalker, and he's like gonna fuck, like he's a stalker. I didn't know what a stalker was. Like, it's like one of the worst things you can be called.
Yeah, I missed that promo.
Barry Windham, like how like that's some depths to go from the Horseman to the Stalker.
Yeah.
Shit, that's wild. So yeah, then we get a 4-way battle royal with Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Psycho Sid versus Goldust versus Savio Vega. Right away, they triple team and take out Psycho Sid, which...
But did you catch Stone Cold's intro music?
No.
It's not his regular. It was like something else. It was like weird, almost like porn music.
Okay, wow. Weird. So...
He's rocking the stash in this.
Yeah, it was kind of weird to see him a little bit in this match.
But I think this was like when he was transitioning from like his first incarnation to the actual badass Stone Cold.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
So then we get Psycho Sid eliminated immediately, but by triple team, the triple team took him out, but they kind of regret that because he comes right back in, chokeslams them all to hell pretty much, and then he leaves, and then next Savio eliminates Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then Austin comes back in and starts whooping on him. That's kind of a common thing back then, I guess. Like, once you get eliminated from the Royal Rumble, you just go back in and beat the other guy's ass.
Sure, why not?
Might as well. You're eliminated, right? You got nothing to lose at that point.
Nothing to lose.
So he comes back, kind of fights off Vega a little bit. Then the last two are Goldust, Savio Vega. Final two. Nothing crazy in this match. It was just kind of like a little 4-way battle royal to determine who faced Shawn Michaels at some Friday night. I forgot what they called it. Yeah, it was some like just USA Friday night show they had at the time, maybe just a special show. The winner of this match faced Shawn Michaels for the title, and Goldust wins. He eliminated Savio Vega when he kind of moved out the way, and Vega ran off the ropes and kind of eliminated himself. So Goldust is the winner. I imagine he jobbed out to Shawn Michaels the following Friday. I'm not
Good
100%.
prediction.
Yeah, so I don't remember Goldust winning the title there. So, and we go to the main event, which to me is my favorite part of the show. Even though there was that whole, beginning, the Mankind and Undertaker shtick, but like, just Yokozuna as a real quick, like.
This was when Yokozuna started like jogging.
Which sucks and is unfortunate, but like if you look at him, man, like he was a fucking character, dude. Like there's nothing like him, and there never will be again, And it's like shit. When I was a little kid watching this, like that's the biggest dude of all time. I'm looking at pretty much like obviously I was a little young for Andre the Giant, I guess, but the way I'm thinking is like I respect the hell out of that dude, man. To go in there and take those bumps and do what he did in there and everything. And, like, it was just wild to see him, I guess, and especially to job out, like you're saying. But
yeah, like, even before that, like, they built up with, like, Lex Luger, like, the whole body slam challenge. And Lex Luger traveled the country to get, like, vibes or whatever to be able to do it. And it was on an aircraft carrier of all places. And then, his matches with Bret Hart, and that would, like, fear for Bret Hart's life that this guy was just gonna like jump on top of him and crush him.
Man.
Yeah,
the sheer mass.
Yeah,
and I think they built him as like 600 pounds or something like that.
Yeah,
650 pounds. Jim Cornette said.
Yeah,
this Jim Cornette said 650 pounds. So Cornette comes down with him. I mean, Yokozuna was a legend in my eyes. He absolutely huge, 650 pounds. I don't know that he was 650 pounds, but. No, he was at least probably about 500. I don't know. I still don't even really know, but he did huge belly to belly. He kind of catches Shawn Michaels' super kick. It kind of counters it at first.
He does it into Samoan drop.
And the announcers were really like taken back by that. Like, holy shit, someone actually countered the fucking super kick. That's when like finishers meant something, like the sweet chin music, I guess you can call it. Because a super kick now is literally just like a power slam or a body slam or a clothesline. Even it's just fucking used so frequent. And at this point, if you were hit with a super kick, you're done. And you find this out a minute later because a minute after Yoko counters it, he gets caught with a super kick. One super kick by Shawn Michaels, who's maybe a third of the weight of this dude, and he goes down for the 3 count. I know they're putting Michaels over, which is fine. He's but still, like nowadays, and I respect the hell out of the Young Bucks, man, and what they do, but like that move, I wonder what Shawn Michaels thinks. Has he ever came out with an interview or anything that said like
I don't know
what he thinks of his move is literally just used as literally a spot fest, every night of the week at a show?
I don't think I've seen anything about that, but it would be interesting.
Yeah, because he made his money on that fucking move, man.
I guess you can look at it 2 ways, right? Like the way you're seeing it, and I think Jim Cornette is of that mindset, or the way of like before a body slam was a finisher.
Times it was, I agree, but like, but a body slam. I don't know. Yeah, I mean it is. A body slam.
You can slice it both ways, right? You can slice it both ways, and there's arguments to be made for both.
Well, okay, but check this out though, real quick. Like, now that we wrap that show up, okay, but HBK wins with the super kick. That show's over. Good show. What'd you guys think? I enjoyed it. Went quick.
I thought it was good. I was glad.
I think it's been one of the
picked a shitty episode.
One of the it was compared to some of the shit you watched. It's recommended. You should. I highly recommend to go back.
It went by fast.
Same.
Yeah, it went by fast.
Killer.
Yeah. I would love that it was short.
45 minutes.
No filler. Yeah, all killer, no filler.
It was a good show, but I mean, now like we were talking about finishers real quick, like even now, like even the good finishers now, people are no selling them and kicking out of them, making them mean nothing. It's some of the craziest shit you've seen. They're kicking out at 2, and then the fucking next thing you know, they're getting pinned by a schoolboy
roll up,
or a fucking roll up or whatever. So like I understand, like I can understand both sides of it. The frustration, like yo, literally you're doing 630s, you're doing all this shit, and you're kicking out at 2, 2.5. and next thing you know, you get caught from behind on a cheesy little roll up or something like that, and you're going down for the 3 count. But like, it's an art, like we're saying. So it's all in what you believe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's all in what you want to take it. It's all in how you want to take it. So I don't know.
I think it could be one of those things where like I think it would be interesting for this like now wrestling to go the way of, you know how Kobashi used to use the burning hammer as like the last resort, like that was the move he would use against, you know, Misawa because nothing else worked. Like that would be pretty cool to see like wrestling gravitate towards that, where guys have that one move that they like will have to break out.
Yeah.
Not for everything or everyone. And then everything else is fair game because it already is fair game. So, I mean, I don't know. Just kind of a thought there. But anyways, yeah, it was a really good show. And I think next week's show should be interesting. I picked – so with the whole new ECW show that they're going to do on WWE with Taz and Dreamer, they've released the entire ECW library on the network. So I picked, because I wasn't watching ECW at this point, I want to know what was going on. ECW Wrestling 45 from June 30, 2000. And to kind of add a little layer to this, the main event's an intergender tag team match. Francine and Just Incredible versus Tommy Dreamer and Jazz. So.
Wow.
I thought it would be very interesting to delve into this.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the theme of this episode is times are changing, you know?
Yeah, the times are changing.
Times are changing. Talking gimmicks. Times are changing. So that'll be an interesting episode, jumping from WWF Raw right to ECW there, 2000. Cool. That'll be good. So anything else you guys want to talk about here? Survivor Series kicking off right now. I mean, it's been going on for about an hour and a half. Lots of action here.
I think
I'm probably going to switch over to that.
We're going to switch to Survivor Series. And
yeah.
It's time for plugs. So, Joey, I'll hand that off.
All right, we'll plug away. So, Talkin Gimmicks as a group, we're on Twitter at Talkin Gimmicks. TALKIN Gimmicks. I'm on Twitter, Joey Shoots. We got Ryan on Twitter, Wordview. Julio_DA. And then we're a part of a network, soon to be named network. On Twitter, it's STBN Network. And you could go to soon-to-be-named-network.com, and it'll take you right to the Tumblr, and then it'll put all the newest episodes right up there. Every time something comes out, you can check those guys out. And Longbox Heroes, I'd like to plug those guys. They come out Wednesday with their comic book flagship show. Some people might think otherwise, not us, but I mean, some people part of the network might think they're the flagship. Who knows? I'm just trying to stir controversy in the network. I'm just trying to stir some shit up.
Maybe you could start a Twitter survey of who's the flagship of the soon to be named network.
Well, yeah, did you see that they determined the president is Joe Sposto over there? Todd Roker put up the thing during the election a couple weeks back who's going to be the president of Longbox Heroes, so we kind of backfired, and Sposto's the president. I'm not sure, what he's going to do to implement some changes over there, but we'll see.
To make the soon-to-be network great again?
To make comic book podcasts great again. So we got Longbox Heroes come out every Wednesday, and then they have an After Dark every Friday. So soon-to-be-named network. Check everything out over there. We're going to go watch Survivor Series. Everyone have a great night. Good catching up with everyone, and we'll see you when we get back here. Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Happy holidays.